this guy's probably fought hundreds of thousands of other super beings on the other planets he's destroyed, right? And we have to assume he's won.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us. Not us united.
Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This Podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Devin.
And joining us for our 200th episode is friend of the show. You've heard the name, now you get to see the face and hear the voice. Friend of the show, Chad, welcome to You Have to Watch This Podcast.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. It's an honor. It's a blessing. It's
okay, that's enough. Okay. That's enough out of you. All right, so if anyone doesn't know, Chad was I met Chad in film school at Penn State, and we became very good friends. And I introduced him to Devin during the filming of my senior film, which we're going to do on the podcast one of these days.
Oh, we have to.
Because I have the rights to that. We can just stream that here.
That is true. And then Devin played me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In your film. I think you just said that.
Yeah. I didn't say that. The film was based on Chad, and Devin played Chad. It was fantastic.
It was so good.
Probably not, but it was my film, so I'm going to say that anyway.
And then I went on to live with Devin for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were roommates.
Yeah, for a little, a year or something?
I think it was about 2 years.
I think it was. Yeah.
The second year you moved out, we both moved out. Because you moved out, then I moved out because I didn't want to be there for long.
Over that soup shop that definitely wasn't a front for something.
Totally legit.
Definitely wasn't.
About Devin. They had all of one customer all year.
They had 3 cups of soup.
So, Ryan, what is your personal connection to Chad? Okay, moving on.
First time I met him was at your New Year's Eve party.
Yeah,
that's right. I was.
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember I was at the New Year's Eve party and
not wearing a suit.
Was it that New Year's Eve party?
Yeah, it was that.
I don't remember. Oh yeah, I remember being at a New Year's Eve party and they're like, "This is my friend Ryan." I'm like, "Oh, hi Ryan, nice to meet you."
Hi Chad, how are you doing? I remember that's how the conversation went, and then we went our separate ways for a while, and then I think we started talking about baseball.
Yep. We talked about baseball for a while. Yep.
For like 4 hours on the couch because you were drunk and I was drunk, and that's all we could think of.
I remember 2 things about that New Year's party. One, Chad disappeared at like 2:00 in the morning, walked to Sheets, and came back with champagne that he drank on my front porch in front of a cop.
That was with Greg. It was Greg and I.
With friend of the show, Greg, yeah. And 2, I got so drunk, my wife and I pulled a prank that I wanted to do for years, where I just disappeared for like 10 minutes and came back with a plate of scrambled eggs and a bowl of salad. And I was like offering it to people, and everyone's looking at me weird. It's like, I don't know what to do with all this tossed salad and scrambled eggs.
Oh,
I forgot about that. I remember you barged in the room, and I was just like, wait, what?
So that's what you said. I remember you coming back, and I was talking with was it some people, and you yelled something, and I remember Chad laughing. I don't think half the people there heard what you said because you shouted it so quickly and loudly that it was just like a meh coming in the back of the room.
Solid Frasier reference, though.
Yeah,
it was. Because I love
okay, so we've buried the lead long enough. Before we get into the podcast proper, we're going to talk about the winner of our superhero movie March Madness. We've been doing this for the last few weeks. It's been a crazy ride. We had the bracket going. Let me see if I can pull. I think I still have it here. Yeah. This was the bracket we started off with. We haven't updated it since because we've been busy. But this is what we started with, and we ended it with The Dark Knight versus Thor Ragnarok, and Devin has the results. Devin, tell us a little bit about how the bracket went.
So for the last couple brackets, we had over 100 respondents, like for each of these movies. Like, it has been an absolutely wild ride, especially this last one. This last one, we had over 100 people vote for this. We only had a difference of 7 votes. This was an incredibly close bracket. Nobody knows but me what it is, and I'm going to draw it out because I love the suspense. But the winner of our 2021 movie bracket is Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. Yes. Okay.
So I had a feeling it was going that way. So I wore my Revengers t-shirt
Oh,
That's awesome.
because I own a Revengers t-shirt.
I'm not mad about it.
People have, that's for sure.
If it was going to be the Dark Knight, I was going to be very disappointed because I couldn't wear another t-shirt over top of this one. So,
I mean, it's a very like Bruce Wayne-esque like getup. I think that would have worked.
all right. So Thor Ragnarok. I can't believe Thor Ragnarok beat the Dark Knight.
I can.
It was a toss-up for me, to be honest. But I think I end up voting for Thor.
Yeah, for me, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, which movie do I want to watch right now? And for me, it was, I can always watch Thor Ragnarok. I have to be in a certain mood to watch The Dark Knight.
Technology.
Well, so here's what it was.
There we go.
It was
We're back.
it was the news that Thor Ragnarok won.
I was going to say,
was so
someone was
intense.
not happy.
Chris Nolan shut us down.
He did.
Chris, he did.
He did.
With that
Taika
weird
Waititi brought us
backbone that he
back.
gets.
All right, so Ryan's still
None of
loading
that's
in.
surprising
We can hear Ryan. We cannot see Ryan.
Okay,
I
so
can
you guys
see
can
Ryan.
hear me.
Yeah, you can see Ryan. I cannot see Ryan.
Yeah.
I can't see him on the stream. I can see him in Discord here.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
I can't see him in Discord,
Okay.
and that's where I'm getting the stream. So
So,
But yeah, so Dark Knight and Thor Ragnarok.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Thor Ragnarok won.
Like I said, it was
Good.
kind of a toss-up for me, but I think I ended up voting for Thor Ragnarok.
I voted. I'm gonna be weird about this. I voted twice. I voted once for me on as the podcast for my personal one, and once as the podcast or as me for the podcast. And I voted for one each.
I think I voted 2 or 3 times because, like I said, I'd see you post it, and
Uh-huh.
I'd vote, and then I'd see Ryan post it, and then I'd vote, and then I'd see Alan post it, and then I'd vote. So I'm kind of guilty as
we
well.
we're pushing it
Yeah.
on you, Chad. We really wanted that Chad vote.
I
Yeah,
know
we did.
It is a very coveted vote, that's for sure.
yeah, I don't know what I can do to get Ryan back.
Oh no,
Maybe if he maybe if he
But you
dropped
guys
out
can
and comes back in.
hear me, though, right?
we can hear.
we can
you.
hear you.
Okay.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna do this. I think that's better.
Disable vid. Yeah,
Uh-oh.
there you go. Now re-enable. See if that does anything.
I did
We
that
talked-
once.
Oh, we did. Okay, never mind then.
We
yeah.
talk movies and show you how to handle tech support issues.
It's exactly what we do. We cover the gamut basically.
Yeah, this choice for me though was not hard at all.
Oh?
No.
No?
I'll put it to you this way. I would rather watch Thor Ragnarok than a lot of other superhero movies. So when this came up, like The Dark Knight isn't even in my top 3 of favorite Batman movies. And Thor Ragnarok is my favorite Thor movie. So already The Dark Knight's 3 movies behind Thor Ragnarok. Or
Okay.
actually is already behind what, five movies behind?
Something like
So
that. Yeah.
But that's an interesting take though, because I know that I feel like The Dark Knight's a lot of people's favorite Batman movie. Like
And
that's
that's
just what I
fine.
keep hearing.
It's
It is.
definitely the more favor of the Chris Nolan ones, I think.
Yeah.
yes, and my view on it is that take the Joker out of that movie, particularly the actor, because I can't think of his name at the moment for the life of me.
Heath Ledger.
There we
Heath
go.
Ledger?
There we got it. Take Heath Ledger out and put in like a whatever actor, not somebody that you would want for the Joker. Is that movie
Oh, I see what
better,
you're
the
saying.
same, less?
I mean, you're right. It's not as good, but I think the Joker is the movie though.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's my point. That's why that movie is not even in my top 3 because it's one focal point. When the other Batman movies that I like really do like, it's a mixture of a lot of people or just the story itself.
See, for me, like The Dark Knight has a lot of great things going for it, like Heath Ledger, like the Hans Zimmer score, and just the story in general. I really like. What gets me with Thor Ragnarok was it's such a lively film. Like everything you see in that movie is a spectacle, from the colors to the set design and the costumes to the performances. Like you got Jeff Goldblum, Kate Blanchett, Carl Urban, Like I always forget he's in that movie. Like just everything is top notch and completely different from everything we've seen in Marvel up to that point. And it stands out among the Marvel films, which each of them are their own little piece of heaven, if you want for lack of a better term. But like that one just stands out so much for me that I had to vote for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it came down to because I'm a big fan of The Dark Knight, and I'm a big fan of Thor in general, but I'm a big fan of Thor Ragnarok. And for me, it like kind of came down to like, well, which one do I watch more often? Like, I like The Dark Knight, but I only seen it maybe a handful of times. Thor Ragnarok, like that's kind of a go-to movie for me. Like
Yeah.
I'll watch that multiple times.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I had to ask myself which movie would I want to watch right now, and
Yeah.
it was definitely Thor Ragnarok. I have to be in a certain mood to watch The Dark Knight.
Yep, that's
Mhm.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of watching Thor Ragnarok,
Did you watch
we're
that?
going to do something kind of cool with the winner here. I believe it's going to be next Monday, and we'll post links to this on all of our socials. We're going to have a watch party of Thor Ragnarok. It's available on Disney Plus, so you'll need Disney Plus to watch it along with us.
Or if you have
But we're gonna be
or if you have your own Blu-ray copy as well.
Oh, that works too.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Okay.
We're gonna be watching it live on our feed, and then if you have Disney Plus, you can watch along with us. We'll be posting that info as well. But if you don't have Disney Plus, you can still watch along with us. We'll be live streaming the whole thing on here, on Facebook, and on Twitch. We're still working out the details because we didn't know which movie it was going to be and if it was going to be Disney Plus or Netflix or HBO Max or whatever it was. So yeah, we're still working out the details. But next Monday, instead of the game stream, we'll be doing that. We'll be watching Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
So come hang out, come talk. I want to hear your thoughts about Thor and Ragnarok and both of those together.
And it'll be a good time.
It'll be fun. I'm excited.
I still don't have Ryan's video. I feel bad.
Strange.
Yeah.
Picture
What if Ryan left and came back quick?
We could try that. Ryan, do you want to try that quick? Ryan,
I turned off and turned on my video. Did that work?
I have your video disabled, so
try disconnecting
got
and
it.
reconnecting.
let me.
Alakazam.
If that was timed
Oh, there it
well, that would have been so funny.
And oh, darn.
You were just like so like just off by a little bit.
Hold on.
Now try enabling it.
There we go. We got him. He's back.
Nice.
Hey.
Hey, Ryan's back.
All right, just in time for us to get into the bulk of the show.
Perfect.
All right, so for our 200th episode, it is only fitting that we talk about what all of the internet has been talking about over the weekend. And I think the spoiler ban has lifted because it's now Tuesday. But we're going to stay spoiler free for as long as we can. Today we're going to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League, the director's cut of 2017's Justice League that was actually directed by Zack Snyder and not Joss Whedon. We talked about the Joss Whedon cut last week on the show, so if you want to, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch that review. Or you can listen to it on any major podcasting platform as the podcast that we do, because this is, after all, a podcast that we just happen to stream for shits and giggles.
Why not?
All right, so we all saw Ryan, Devin, and I saw the Justice League last week before the Snyder Cut. In our live stream, we gave Chad here a challenge, and that's part of the reason he's here. Chad watched the Snyder Cut before watching the theatrical cut. So we have a different point of view coming into this that I'm really interested to hear about. So since Chad came into this clean, and he's the guest, he gets to go first.
Oh no.
Chad, what did you think of Zack Snyder's Justice League without getting into any spoilers?
Without getting into any spoilers. My initial reaction after just seeing it without seeing Justice League after, because I watched that the next day. I liked it. There was definitely some problems with it, but overall I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I thought it was it just had a good tone to it. It was kind of what I expected, I guess. You know what I mean? But then, because then going into the And I remember I texted Devin that night, like as soon as they started the Justice League, I just like the tone is 100% different. It was quite shocking, to be kind of honest. And I can see now some of your critiques, and they really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
That I heard you guys talking about.
All
Well,
right.
because you texted me a little bit and said like some of your critiques don't make sense, and then like you watched the Justice League cut or the Joss Whedon cut, and you were like, oh yeah, I get it.
No, there was because like I'm without going into spoilers. Like I remember you mentioned like Mike, because I remember you guys saying like, oh, well, I didn't like the Flash. Like the Flash was, whatever. And I remember I watched the Snyder cut. I was like, I kind of like the Flash. But then I watched the Justice League cut and went, oh, now
Yeah.
I know why you like the Flash.
So in chat, our friend of the show Bill says Chad also liked the artist, so all this should be taken with a grain of salt.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was years ago. To be honest, I don't even really remember the artist that much.
Okay, look, I liked the artist,
See?
so that's kind of where I'm. I thought it was an interesting movie. I don't know if it was as great as everyone said it was, but I thought it was interesting. I'll defend it, Chad. I got you, boo.
Thank you. Forgot we had that. We also hold on. We can't bring that argument because that was also the night we argued about Skyrim politics in the car. So
College was.
I
fun
really
time.
need to play that game.
yeah, college was a fun
Ouch.
time.
All right, Ryan, what did you think of the Snyder cut?
Put the John Sweden cut in the grave, bury it. It is gone. If this thing wasn't 4 hours long, I'd watch this routinely.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think about it.
Okay.
Yep.
As high praise, as
Yeah.
Andy Samberg says, as Nick Cage. Devin, how about you?
All right, so this is my Justice League movie. I'm not going to watch the Joss Whedon or the Justice League. I'm not going to watch it ever again. I'm watching this version of it. But like, man, the 4 hours felt like 4 hours. I liked what they did. I liked what I saw. I liked the character development and the motivation and all the new like plot lines that they brought into the movie. But I knew I was sitting down for 4 hours. I still think DC movies aren't my, like, I don't love them as much as I do like Marvel movies. So I think it had some of the same problems DC movies do. But I think this was it did everything Justice League was supposed to do. And I love it for it.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, the 4 hours is a little taxing, but I'm glad that they had those title cards to like pause, like go get more popcorn, take a bathroom break if you need to. I really enjoyed this. I wanted to go back and rewatch it, but the 4 hour time commitment just did not allow me to before the show. There's a lot that I liked. There's some stuff that I was surprised was actually Snyder and not Joss Whedon, which we'll get into. But overall, I thought this was a great, like my whole thing, which I've talked about before, is Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League are a trilogy. And the original Justice League did not fit that story that Snyder had set up going into this film. I think this is the perfect ending to that trilogy. And it's an ending in that we're probably not going to get more of this. But I think tone-wise and story-wise, there's a lot that gets paid off in this film that you don't get in the other one. And I think just for that, it's definitely the superior Justice League. So
Definitely. I think I remember texting Devin and saying, pairing the two, I think I referred to the Snyder Cut as the real Justice League. Because it was just, I don't know what to say.
Coming from my perspective on this whole thing, like Alan, to be perfectly honest, ever since you started doing the whole like the whole like John Sweden cut thing, and I was always like, yeah, sure, let's do it. I was always in the camp of like, this will never happen. Stuff like this has never happened in the past. If they do a John Sweden cut, it's going to be what, like 10% of a tone shift, and like that's it. I was not expecting this, and in fact, not getting into any spoilers because this isn't. I truly believe now because I'm fully on your side, Alan, on this topic that you've talked about too. Directors should get full control of the content that they make, and the studios should stay the hell out of their process. In fact, to the point, I want a label. Like how there is organic food and there is a label telling you that it's organic, there should be a label on media, on posters, whatever, billboards for movies that say some abbreviation that stands for the director had full control of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that the audience can decide if they want to spend the money to watch one movie over another. Because I can tell you right now, I would rather spend money on a film that had full directive control than anything that had the studio's hands in it.
Yeah.
After this,
Well,
Is the counterpoint to that argument Marvel?
I don't care.
okay, so that's a good question. And I think part of the thing with Marvel is they do have Kevin Feige producing every single film. But he still allowed somebody like Taika Waititi to go do their thing. The only issue they've ever had with that was in like Phase 2 when Joss Whedon, of all people, is still around with Age of Ultron, and back when Edgar Wright was supposed to do Ant-Man, like there was some conflict there, and Edgar Wright left the project because it wasn't what he wanted to do. So I think Marvel does a good job of getting directors who will do what they want to do, but also toe the line of what is needed for this overall story. And I think
I agree.
And I think
part
of where DC was coming from was, no, we want you to do this, but we don't care about the overall story. Like that obviously,
and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that obviously, like there's no overarching goal here. Their whole plan was we're going to introduce the Justice League and then branch out into solo films. And when you first hear that, looking at what Marvel's done, it's like, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Give us time to know these characters and like connect with them before we see them team up. Like that's what we want. But what the Snyder Cut does beautifully is introduce all of these characters that we haven't seen for more than a clip, and lets you know who Cyborg is, lets you know about Barry Allen. It does such a great job in the first hour of introducing you and getting you to know these characters. I had to do the math because, like, was it really an hour? Yeah, it was an hour. Yeah. But
it doesn't necessarily seem like it, does it?
It does such a great job of world building and getting you into these characters' state of minds and who they are as a person and as a metahuman and a hero. That it makes sense that this was their goal, was put them all in Justice League and then branch out into the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman.
That was one of the things that was kind of shocking to me with the Joss Whedon cut, was like how like I felt Cyborg and Flash kind of got shafted in a way.
Oh, they did.
Really, though.
Yeah, they did
just,
heavily.
Cyborg was just like, he's here. He's a cyborg. That's what he does. But like in the Snyder Cut, like they really kind of like go through his whole story, and like the whole point of like him and his kind of like mind palace kind of spoilers. I guess we're trying to say spoiler free.
That's close enough.
Close enough. But yeah, I just love the way they did with Cyborg, because he really, I think, came the whole way.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that I was. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
What I was going to say is, when it comes from the Joss Whedon cut to the Snyder cut, there was give and take on both of those characters. And I like the give and take in the Whedon cut compared to the give and take that they did in the first one.
Oh, interesting.
I can't get the names right at the moment. I'm just going to stop using them. Just going to stop using them.
Theatrical. New. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
so wait,
I got that too. Sorry, Devin, go ahead.
No. Here's the one thing that I was really interested about, or was thinking about when I was watching it. This might have been the best circumstance under which this movie could have come out, this 4-hour cut, because I don't feel like they would have let a 2-hour or a 4-hour cut of this come to theaters as the original version of this if Whedon had if Snyder had like a whole, like his whole creative process. They wouldn't have let a 4-hour version come out. So there would have been a cut down 2-hour version of this, or maybe 3. and I feel like it wouldn't have been as well received. And then this director's version would have come out that was this version of it, and I feel like it would have like released to almost no fanfare. Only diehard fans would see it. And now, like, it's 4 hours. Like chat saying, it's 4 hours. Like, it is a big event. People are talking about it now. Like, this is the best chance this movie ever had to succeed, I think.
You can definitely tell. I think I told you this. You could definitely tell that they really were trying to. It almost felt like they're trying to put a couple different movies in it, but like trying to make sure they get the full backstory on everyone in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely. Yeah, to get it all in one, you would not have been able to get it all into like a 2-hour.
No.
Also,
Well,
if you see Andrew Goodman in the chat, just ignore him. He's
Andrew Goodman.
part of me wonders if the plan was originally like the original plan was Justice League Part 1 and 2. So I'm wondering if maybe this was going to be like
that's true.
So I'm wondering how much of this was going to be the second film. I don't really think there's a good point to split this in half. But I think halfway through production, the plan was changed that it was just going to be one film. So they might have had elements from that second one they worked in. So there is a lot that changed in the movie besides story. Did anything else stand out to you guys that was different this time around?
The score.
Yep.
You noticed the score?
I noticed the score. I had to watch this thing with headphones, so I very much noticed the score.
So what did you think of the score compared to Danny Elfman's reuse of his own score and John Williams?
I cannot remember what exactly you were saying the last time we talked about this, but you mentioned something about you were worried that it was going to become like a generic superhero score, and that's what this felt like to me.
Okay. I didn't think it was generic. I really enjoyed the...
You were worried about two people teaming up and creating like one affecting the other one's ability to like make a creative score, and that you were afraid it was going to be like basic, like a generic and not like unique or something like that. I cannot remember who you were talking about. All I was worried. The premise.
No, I had said last time that I was upset with Danny Elfman because his score for Justice League felt generic. It felt like the Avengers. But in Batman v Superman, you had Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL, who's not going by that name anymore, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. But he's the one who did Justice League. Like, he was hired on at the beginning to do the score, and then was fired by Warner Brothers, and then brought back for Zack Snyder's Justice League. Mm-hmm. So he made use of what he did with Batman v Superman and used Hans Zimmer's Superman theme from Man of Steel, and some of he pretty much reused elements from Batman v Superman because he worked on that. And I loved it. Like, there's one scene that we'll get into later that I've just been listening to the track over and over on my phone, because it's like the perfect scene for me in this movie. But I really
want to know what that is.
I think I know what it is, but I'm not gonna say it till we'll see.
Yeah. We'll wait till we get to spoilers, but I'm curious.
What did you guys think of the score?
Go ahead, Chad.
Good talk.
No, I'm just I mean, I guess I don't have anything like specific to say about it. I thought it was good. It was definitely. I think I see what you're saying about the Joss Whedon cut, the theatrical cut score, and it like at first it was fun. Like, oh, that's the Batman theme. Like, I recognized it, but then after a while, it's like, okay, it's just it's the Batman theme. We get it, and then they did the Superman theme. I like the score. It fit very well. It kind of stuck to the tone of the whole thing. I like that. I love like I said, I love the tone that they went with in this here. Snyder went with this in this one, and not the. It got me in the Joss Whedon cut when he just shows like the whole thing starts off with like the kids with a camera. It's like, oh, this is a lot different.
Oh yeah.
It's for the millennials, Chad. Do you get it? We use cell phones.
I guess.
Let's talk about that opening, because it opens with Superman dying in Batman v Superman. If you haven't seen Batman v Superman, it's 5 years old. I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
This is the 200th episode of this podcast. That was episode 2. Episode 1 was Man of Steel, so it's kind of fitting that our big landmark episode is another Zack Snyder superhero movie. with Henry Cavill. So it opens with Henry Cavill diving, with Superman dying to Doomsday and Batman v Superman and his screams.
Yep.
Like comparing that to the cell phone footage in Justice League.
Superman. Yeah.
It's just, I think it's a much better way to open.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't. Looking at the chat, no, I do not think they consulted Phil Collins for the score.
That's don't listen to them.
They should have.
Can you imagine that opening scene just to, I want to know?
I'm telling you right now, I mean, if Phil Collins can put as much as he put into Tarzan into any movie,
Oh, yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Matrix with him.
No. Chad hit it right on the head. It's a Clark Kent in Smallville learning about his powers to, I want to know about these people.
Can you show me?
Can you show me?
I agree with chat right now with friend of the show Bill. Legitimately disappointed there wasn't a montage set to Hallelujah. Yeah, I enjoyed that trailer. I really did.
So jumping to the end credits, I think Hallelujah was used very well there as the tribute to his daughter. I do agree that I like the trailer with Hallelujah that we previewed last week. But it would have been interesting to see that in the film. I think it's kind of smart to avoid that because they did do the Leonard Cohen cover in the Justice cut with Everybody Knows.
Oh yeah.
So I think it served its place in the end credits.
Sure.
Also would have been taken out. Also would have taken Somebody Save Me from Smallville. You know, they did that once on the DC crossovers a few years ago, and it was fantastic.
That's cool that they did that.
Yeah. And they actually went back to that Smallville farm, too, and you just see Lois and Clark sitting there drinking coffee on the porch. It was really cool. Okay, so the other thing that I noticed that was different, and I almost had examples for us, but I realized I couldn't show them to you guys and to everyone at home too, is the color. There's a lot of color differences and maybe some lack thereof. Everything's very desaturated and back to the Zack Snyder tone of things.
Oh yeah.
What did you guys think of that? What did you think of the look of the film? I guess is.
I liked it. After watching that and going back watching the theatrical, it was the theatrical cut almost seems more cartoony after seeing it. Cause that one was very colorful, but the dark theme of Snyder cut I really enjoyed because it felt like it took itself more seriously to me.
It was definitely a case where the tone of the movie matched matched the color scheme of it, matched it all kind of fit. You didn't have this dark brooding Batman who uses guns in this version of him go, I feel like something's broken, like he did in the Whedon cut. It just all fit.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I really didn't notice a tone shift, but the one thing that I can definitely say is that it felt more at home. Everything felt like it fit bebetter. So if that's me reacting to the tone of the color, then that's fine. All
right. So two things in chat.
Chat's awesome tonight.
Chat is amazing tonight. Where are you guys every week? First, I want to address the comment from my wife. I like that Superman changed his outfit since he didn't know what color the sky would be at the end. And then friend of the show Bill asks, what do we think of plans to release a black and white cut of Zack Snyder's Justice League? Because it feels like a lot.
I don't think it'd make the movie better. I don't think I'd be like, oh, black and white, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it would make it better. I mean, as a bonus disc on the eventual Blu-ray release of this, I'm fine with it. I don't need to see it in
Yeah,
in
it's
theaters.
no. I don't have a burning desire to see the same. Yeah, it in black and white. I don't think really.
If anybody wants to know if they'd like to see the movie in black and white, go into your TV settings, put the color contrast all the way to the one side. It'll turn everything black and white. And see if you like the first hour. If you don't, shift it back to 50, which is the standard setting on old TVs, and you'll be fine.
The more you know.
He's right.
Uh,
Yeah, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
Do you know how many movies I've seen in black and white? The Matrix is actually really funny in black and white.
That would be weird in black and white. Why did you watch it like that?
I was bored, and I was 16.
Black and white's weird, just from a video production standpoint. I had to film something in black and white, which is out now, and I will share it on my Facebook page tomorrow. But like I had to stop and think, like, what is the best way to film this? Because I've never shot anything in black and white. Like, I wasn't Kevin Smith in 1993 filming Clerks. I was like, do I film it in camera black and white? Do I do it in post? And I had to put thought into costumes. Like, well, the walls are gray. I can't wear a gray suit. I need something that will pop out a little bit more. So I ended up wearing this jacket, and it looked really good in black and white. So,
There you go.
So is the artist. The artist is also black and white.
Don't pay attention. Don't acknowledge him. Don't encourage him.
Would you rather Chad, you tell me to ignore everyone in the chat. You tell me to ignore Andrew. You tell me to ignore Bill.
Well, trust me, I'm doing you a service by telling you to ignore Andrew. He'll admit that.
I'm just gonna ignore your warnings because it seems to be better here. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I'll listen to your conversation. I'm just not heeding your warnings.
Fair enough.
Okay, so now that Zack Snyder is back into the Justice League, how did you guys feel about the Zack Snyder-ness of this movie? Because you look at Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon as directors, and they have two very different careers, and two very different styles. What did you think of Zack Snyder's style and what it added to this version of the film? Or did it take away anything from it for you? Like,
No, I mean, honestly, I think what the version that took anything away was the Whedon cut. I think that took away stuff because it took away the tone that they were building for two movies. It took away like consistency. It took away like what these characters were. And I feel like at this point, like I could turn on Man of Steel, watch all of these in a row and just be like, yeah, it's the same movie. Got it.
okay. Ryan, how about you? Did the slow-mo take you out of it at all?
Slow-mo?
The 10%
so
of the film was slow-mo, right?
I really would. It was fine. The feel of the movie, I was okay with it. But I don't know how many movies I could take with having I don't know if I want to do real slow-mo and just do medium slow-mo. Because I feel like this movie could have been maybe like 30 minutes shorter if it was filmed at normal speed.
Yeah.
Side note, do you guys know how many minutes of slow-mo there are in this movie?
Do
Probably
you?
half.
I do.
Let's hear it.
24 minutes of slow motion in the Snyder cut.
I was only 6 minutes off. I was only 6 minutes.
Yeah, Bill said 10%. It's a 240-minute movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's so much freaking slow-mo, guys.
That's insane.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
some of it makes sense.
Yeah,
Because when you have a character like the Flash, like you kind of have to do slow-mo to show his speed.
When you do slow-mo to show the Flash moving faster than you can see him, technically slow-mo, or filming him at normal speed for us?
I mean, I think it's a slow-mo effect. Like, I think you have to.
But I mean, he's moving faster than you can see him if you didn't do the slow-mo. So technically, the slow-mo isn't slow-mo.
It's
It's normal
time.
speed mo.
It's flash time.
It's flash time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So technically, it's not slow-mo.
I'm sure.
Slow-mo is like me being slowed down or you being slowed down as we walk down the hallway. Slow-mo for the Flash when he's running at 10,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. Faster than the speed of light.
There you go.
So,
Whatever
okay, look. So this brought up a good point where I was like, okay, yeah, how do you show the Flash when he's running super fast without doing slow-mo? Flash isn't usually doing much interesting in slow-mo, aside from like making that weird sideways angle face and doing this with his arms. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need to see this all the time. We get it.
That is true.
The only like in the chat, Bill says Zack Snyder does visual symbolism very well. Some call it heavy-handed, sometimes it is, but it's very well done heavy-handed. The only thing that really took me out of the slow-mo scenes was when the Flash is saving the girl from the car wreck, who turns out to be Iris West. And all of the hot dogs, just like that was so confusing to me. Like, where is he putting these hot dogs? Like, what's going on? Like, there was enough time for me to be like, what's his plan with that hot dog he's grabbing?
Yes.
Yeah.
That like, I love the joke that came from that. I really do. But while he's doing it, I'm like, is he saving that for later for himself? Because that's definitely something I might do. Like, oh, look, a hot dog. I'm hungry. I'll eat this later.
Yeah. I just think that's the same thought. I guess the slow-mo didn't take me out of it too much. But I can definitely see where I can see where Devin's point. Yeah, he's just running. Unless he's doing something specific, like the fight with Superman was interesting because that kind of showed a big.
Yeah,
I'm getting into spoilers again.
Yeah. Well, that was in the other one, so
it was.
That's true. That was in the other one. Yeah, like the whole fight with Superman. That was kind of. I mean, there's a purpose to that because that was him realizing, oh shit, Superman can see me and actually move almost as fast as me. But yeah, I could see where he didn't need it all the time. That's for sure.
Guys, I need to stop reading the chat because they're encouraging us to do a podcast drunk, and I will.
Oh, it's gonna happen.
It will happen.
What do you think?
So
What do you think the Thor
That's
Ragnarok
Andrew
rewatch is gonna be?
So one thing that I noticed that I don't know if this was like a camera angle thing or a Zack Snyder thing or whatever. In the Sweden cut, I absolutely hated the Flash's feet and running posture when he was doing the slow-mo because it looked like he was kicking his legs off to the side and like twisting on the ball of his feet, and it looked cartoonish and I hated it. And in this one, his knees are straight and it looks like his legs are actually, for lack of a better term, wheeling underneath him and staying underneath him instead of going off to the side like he's speed skating. So I don't know if that was like a thing that they did in reshoots, if that was like a camera angle that like that like Snyder was like, oh, I hate this, we're going to use this. And then, the other guy was like, oh, this is good enough, just throw it in there.
That might have been a Whedon thing because that was kind of I can see now why you guys didn't like the Flash in the theatrical cut because like they really just kind of changed him.
So let's talk about that because that is one of the things that surprised me the most about this Zack Snyder cut is the first few scenes with the Flash from the Whedon cut are pretty much verbatim what you got in this one with some minor changes. Like the dialogue and the jokes are still there.
They didn't do the brunch though.
You don't get the brunch stuff. Like
I'm so happy about that.
Like I said last time, Josh Whedon was like, "Okay, I did shawarma. What's another meal people get? Brunch. Let's get brunch." So, like, I was kind of surprised that humor was there for the Flash, but it makes sense because the Flash should be the lighter of these characters because he's a kid. He has comic book wise, the Flash is the more comedic character. He's the comic relief.
Spider-Man.
So he's their Spider-Man.
He's the awkward smart kid that's just kind of like, teenager fun.
Was there anything for you guys that carried over to the Snyder cut that was surprising to you? Because for me, it was mostly the Flash stuff, like his sense of humor, the scene where he turns and sees Superman during the fight, like that. I wasn't expecting that to say there was anything that you thought was Whedon that you were surprised to see was in the Snyder cut.
For me specifically, it was that scene when they were meeting with Commissioner Gordon on the roof, and then everybody but Flash leaves, and he's like, "Oh, did they just do that? Oh, that's rude," or something like that. And
I enjoyed that joke though.
I liked the joke, but I thought that was 100% Whedon.
Yeah, see, no, the thing, I think the reason why people thought that was Whedon was because that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
that joke with him with Gordon came out of nowhere for that character in the Whedon in the Whedon cut up
Yeah.
until that point. But in this, they set that sense of humor right off the bat with him going, I save snacks in case,
Yeah.
for emergencies like these. So
Yeah.
that perfectly fit him in the Snyder cut compared to in the Whedon cut where it was like, first he's making jokes about brunch, now he's making jokes about the leaving when somebody turns their back. Okay.
Yeah, in the Joss Whedon cut, he was very much. They tried to make him the comic relief in the sense of, oh, he's the awkward kid that tries to crack jokes but can't crack jokes. But in the Snyder cut, he actually like had some wit to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay. In the chat, at least he doesn't motorboat anyone this time. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Moving on.
Well,
Okay, so we talked a lot about the Flash. One person we did not talk a lot about yet, which I think we can do a little bit without spoilers, is Cyborg.
Mhm.
Pretty much Cyborg's the heart of this movie, and he was not in the Justice cut.
No.
What did you guys think
I mean,
of
he
Ray
was,
Fisher?
but, different.
I mean, they cut like
They cut most of it
70%
out.
of his story.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan, I know what you're gonna say. So,
Question about the actor though.
yes,
Is he the one you were talking about on the last podcast that was like never working in Hollywood after
Yes.
this?
because he
Yeah.
was
Okay.
pretty much the whistleblower on the
Reshoots, right?
reshoot stuff.
I can definitely. I mean, if I did that for what they did in this release, and my role was cut down to what they did, just on that alone, I would be going. Now I'll go do something else. Screw you guys.
wow.
Yeah.
Seriously, like
Yeah.
Alan, like you said, he is the heart of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't do that.
Yeah, because going from the Snyder cut to the Joss Whedon cut, it was very surprising. Like there's times when like like I'd be coming to the scene like, okay, so this is the scene where no, that's not where Cyborg shows up, or oh, this is when his father is. Oh, nope, okay, no, we're and then at the end, well, not spoilers, but yeah, like oh, I guess his father wasn't in this, and like yeah, it was just very. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, you definitely get more of his backstory in this one, and his like the
100%.
way they show his abilities is tragic and beautiful, and I really enjoyed that sequence that wasn't in the original film. And like it warms my heart to see like the actress who was in that sequence tweeted out, "I was cut from the original Justice League. Can someone please tell me if I'm in this version?" And people gathered around her like, "Yeah, you're in this. Like you did a great job." Like it's
Good.
just stuff like that is like just seeing people's work get like pay off. Even though I have no horse in this race, like just seeing people's work pay off and people being able to share their art with other people is just like, yes, just do it.
Yeah.
Well, I can imagine. I'd be outraged if like I was in a. It's like yeah, I'm in a movie. Then all of a sudden it's like, nope, not in a movie.
Yeah.
Well, like in the Whedon cut, like the whole like his growth as a character starts with him going, "I don't like that I used to be dead and now I'm alive," and then it ends with, "I made a joke about being dead with Superman,"
And I said,
and that's like the
and I said my catchphrase from the Teen Titans, like,
yeah, that's it. Like that's the whole
Yeah.
thing, and like they made him a freaking character in this, and I loved it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Alan, what did you think I was going to say?
We'll get into that in spoilers.
Okay.
So other than that, out when there's trouble, you know who to call. Joss Whedon. No, thank you.
Who said that?
Depending,
Bill.
depending on what the storyline is.
Yeah.
Depending on what the story.
Yeah.
I does anyone care to hear what Joss Whedon's opinion is of all this?
No.
Yeah. No, I kind of want to know.
I'm curious.
I'm curious too, because I mean, like, this is kind of like the better one, like almost unanimously.
Yeah, like with everything that's come out about him recently and all the stories, like I just don't, like I'm interested in hearing, but I really don't care. Like,
See, yeah.
like all right. Is there anything else we want to cover before we get into spoilers?
Can
I'm ready. Yeah.
Something I noticed in the Snyder cut that didn't really stand out as much in the original cut. I
Mhm.
cannot keep their name straight for the life of me. Anyway, holy product placement, Batman. The Snyder cut is full.
Are you
of
talking about
product
the
placement.
Mercedes?
Yeah.
I am not just talking about the fact that this movie was brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. I'm talking about like 2 other companies too, and we can get to them if you want because Ford and Under Armour.
Yep.
And this movie was presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Oh yeah, that whole shot where they're in when he's in the car, he goes, "Oh, what's your superpower? I'm rich." And then they just have like the glamour shots of like the dashboard.
Yeah.
And that's a concept car. That's not even in production. Like
That's
that's
what
the
Batman
best
has.
part of that thing. Like it's a freaking concept car. Like that thing is not drivable. That thing is not.
There's also a couple other Mercedes Benz in there. Who else?
Mhm.
There's a few others.
The Mercedes were in the Justice cut because I noticed them too. So
Yep.
I think that's
Yep.
just carrying over with footage that they had. Plus,
Oh,
I think,
yeah.
plus there are contract deals made.
Oh.
There was one bit of product I feel dirty calling this product placement, but after the Mercedes-Benz shot, there was a shot of a billboard that says "You are not alone," and it was for I forget the charity, but for a suicide prevention site and charity, which I thought was a really nice touch.
It was.
I think there was also like a really gratuitous can of Coke scene. I feel like a character like put a can down, spun the label, stared at it, the camera panned, like, because I remember I either like said it out loud because I was watching it with Romana or like thought it. And I was like, this scene brought to you by Coke.
I mean, how do you think Bruce Wayne made all of his money?
True.
Calvin Klein underwear.
All right. Anything else before spoilers?
I'm ready for spoilers.
Okay.
Same.
All right. If you haven't seen the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, we're going to get into spoilers. This is your warning to please don't tune out. This is a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun in chat.
Oh yeah, this is great.
But we're going to get into spoilers. There's not really much different from there's a bit different from the original Justice League. So if you haven't seen the Snyder cut, you've been warned. We're going to get into spoilers. So let's see here. Guys, they brought back Superman differently.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this because this is the biggest difference that I think makes this film like a complete 180 from the other version. So in the Justice cut, in Justice League, you had Batman being the one saying, "We need to do this. Like this is what my goal is," and you have him and Wonder Woman fighting about it. In this one, they all come to the same point at the same time. And there's no bickering. They're all like, this is what we need to do because this is why we need to do it. Like, they all get to the same place.
They're coming together as the team.
Yeah. Like, I love that scene so much. And the way that was shot with the cameras going around them, because they shot that several times just doing that. Like, that's all that scene is. And I knew about that going into it, and I forgot about it because I got 2 hours into this. Like, oh, yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
Yeah, and I loved how they had one of them seeing what the dangers might be.
Yeah.
But at the same time, knowing that regardless of what the dangers are in the future, we might be able to handle it. We need to do this now.
Yeah.
And I loved how they handled that.
It was
I did too.
It was such a great moment of team building. Instead of the awkward big man in a suit of armor, take it away, what are you? Like the Avenger scene where they all have to fight for some reason, even though they all just met. Like, you don't need that here. Like, I like that they have a moment where they're all like, no, this is what we need to do. Like, if the Mother Box can do this, then why couldn't it do this to a Kryptonian?
I think it was a good example of like in kind of like films and TV where you see like conflict. You're like, I feel like a 20-minute conversation could like resolve this.
Just talk about this.
And like and that's kind of what they did is instead of Batman just going, I don't know, let's bring Superman back, and then Wonder Woman fighting him, and then Aquaman just sitting in the corner being an asshole. They actually had like the actual conversation, like, well, here's what it can do. should we? And then like I even like how even like instead of the Flash, just instead of Barry Allen just being hungry in a corner, he just has to go, oh well, I'm not gonna say it. Like he had the same thought.
Yeah. And the other thing that it does, like in the Justice cut, Batman's suicidal. Like he wants to die as repentance for killing Superman, like being responsible for killing Superman. In this, like yes, he's willing to sacrifice himself towards the end, but he's not like, "Hey, parademons, come kill me so we can get this done." It's more like if I have to sacrifice myself for the greater good, I will. But it's not like I'm going to sacrifice myself because I feel bad. Like
it wasn't a weird death pact.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he made it very clear that, like, the reason he wanted to do this was, I made a promise, like, something's bad is coming. We need to do something about it instead of, weird. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and even since we're talking about Superman, I like what they did with him in the Snyder Cut after he was alive so much more. Like, okay, in the Joss Whedon cut, they bring back Superman. You have to bring him back. He's this super powerful guy. He's going to carry a building away in the end scene.
Oh yeah,
that's what they use him for.
Yeah, right.
Like, come on, that's not why you have him go punch the bad guy like he does in here. He punches the bad guy.
Yeah,
I kind of that was a bit when you're going into the theatrical cut, I was like kind of getting ready for that big fight with Superman at the end.
Yeah,
and it's like he's like, I'll go east, and then he like runs off, and then you have Flash getting confused, and he just carries his. He's like, wait, what? No, that's not what I expected or wanted.
What are you doing?
I also like when they brought him back. For me, there was a bit of a tonal shift between, and I know we keep mentioning the tone difference, but like in the Snyder cut versus the Joss Whedon cut, like when the whole moment of when Superman's back and there's that moment of everyone's like, yeah, he's back. Is he back? It felt a lot heavier in the Snyder cut. Like I kind of, there was like moment there. Remember we watched Brightburn, Alan?
Mm-hmm.
I got like Brightburn like feelings for just a second.
Yeah, and you didn't need the Flash making Pet Cemetery jokes for that to come through.
No, you didn't, because it was very much like maybe I don't know if it was the score or just tone, but it was just very much Superman's looking at it, and you could just tell like before even Cyborg says, "Oh no, he's scanning us." It's like, wait a minute, did we bring back Superman?
Yeah. So the other okay, so that was my big thing, spoiler wise, like difference wise. What was something different for you guys that you thought is worth talking about here? Now that we're in spoilers.
I'm gonna say it. In spoilers, Martian freaking Manhunter.
Okay.
That's a big one.
Okay. So I talked about last week that I knew something that I didn't want to know.
You knew that it was him?
I knew that. So what happened was back when the Snyder Cut was still a myth, storyboards got leaked of that scene with Martha Kent turning into Martian Manhunter. And I knew it was going to be Harry Lennox. The fact that they delivered on it made me so happy. Because if she walked out of that apartment and wasn't Martian Manhunter, I was going to be so pissed. But they did it.
Okay, so my reaction was I paused, like I stood up and I was like that.
Yeah!
And I looked, I was thinking in my head, like, I really wish I could do the Little John, like, what really well, because that's literally what I had going on in my head when she turned into Martian Manhunter. Like, I had a tiny Little John in my head going, what, with a pimp cup? Like,
okay, so before we get too far into Martian Manhunter, in chat, Bill is saying Martian Manhunter felt like they just plugged him in there for no reason. He furthers the plot in no way, and the plot's 4 hours. Okay, so my defense of Martian Manhunter is he might not do much in this film, but it is payoff for the last two films, because the implications are Harry Lennox's character, this general who then became Secretary of Defense, has always been Martian Manhunter. And he's been living in the shadows as this general. So it's just kind of like a, hey, you didn't know this, but hey, look who this guy is. And he's the perfect casting for that character too. So it's a shame that we're not going to actually get payoff for that from what it seems like. I think that would have been something really cool down the line. But I really like that as a, hey, this is what this is where we're going. Like, just so you know, like this
Yeah.
guy knows that Lois Lane is just as important as Clark Kent.
Yep.
So
Yeah, that's kind of how I definitely saw. Like, I was excited to see Martian Manhunter because I like Martian Manhunter. But like I kind of see where Bill's coming from. Where like it didn't really further the plot. But yeah, it was very much hey, here's kind of what we had in mind going forward. We're probably gonna do something with this. It was still kind of fun for that. I think.
yeah,
I mean, it felt like fan service, and I'll take that every once in a
Oh, yeah.
while. Like in 4 hours of a movie, give me a little something.
Yeah, I mean that's how I feel about it too. And I mean, depending on what they do after this, when it comes to like Lois Lane and like other movies inside this tone, if they continue doing this, that conversation they had, it might mean a lot, and the fact that he's the one that did it. So I mean, even though it doesn't further this specific movie plot along, if they're going to continue doing stuff based off the storyline, it's going to. That's how I see it anyway.
I also kind of laughed because I was going into this ready for like okay, here's like the dreaded Lois Lane conversation that I heard so much about. How is it? Are they gonna do it here too?
yeah.
And then Martian Manhunter.
It was so hard for me to not lay that out for you guys because I knew that was gonna be. I was hoping that'd be the payoff in the Snyder cut, where that scene makes so much more sense when it's not Martha Kent. But in that version, it was. So, yeah, it does seem weird. Like it doesn't really fit the overall film, but I'm happy with it. It does seem like it's setting up something that we're not going to get to see. I much prefer that to then a Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern cameo, which was rumored to be happening.
No way.
Yeah,
Well, they're making a new Green Lantern, aren't they? And Green Lantern Corps television series.
yeah. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hold on. Since we brought it up a bunch, I know this isn't necessarily spoilers, but how do you guys feel that there aren't going to be sequels to this? Because after watching that end scene, like I think they're trying to set up Injustice. I'm sad.
Well,
They definitely set up the whole.
let's save that conversation for later.
Okay, because I have a lot.
I have some story beats for the sequels that have been leaked that we'll go over.
Okay.
That are
Because I want sequels.
interesting. Yes. So we can do that later, or we could just do it now if you want.
Well, does anyone else have any other big changes?
Yes. The Amazon storyline, the extra scenes they added in, absolutely loved it. I feel like it made the importance and the danger of Steppenwolf that much greater than what they had originally. And I love how that keep works. I love how that thing falls into the ocean and turns into a cage. I absolutely love I really love that difference. Are we at a point to bring up Darkseid yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. I have a problem.
Okay.
Oh.
And this is a note that I written out.
Okay.
I can't wrap my head around Darkseid and his technology not remembering where they were when they were defeated and where that power was.
Wait, sorry. Say that one more time.
I was tired when I wrote this. So
No, I get it.
Okay, so the anti-life or antimatter or
Anti-life equation. Yes.
and the anti-life equation. It is what burned onto the surface of the earth, or it's a box somewhere buried on the earth, or whatever it is. I have no idea what it is. So anyway, it's on Earth.
Yep.
And they talk about how when Darkseid in the first Age of Heroes came down on the planet, he discovered a power on the planet and they wanted to take it over. That's why the mother boxes were there to begin with. And he almost gets his head cut off.
Yeah.
And people come and save him and throw him back on the ship. And then Steppenwolf later tells Darkseid, I found the anti stuff. And they're like, what? It's on Earth? And I'm like, they just showed you there running a battle where you almost died. How do you not remember this?
I had the same thought when he's like, "Oh, you found it." I'm like, "You forgot about like you're the only planet you ever lost to in your entire existence?" Like, yeah, I had the same exact thought.
that's the one thing that I'm just like, to be honest, like that's really the only issue I have with this entire movie. So it's one of those things where it's like, yes, this is a big harping problem, but at the same time, it's like I can let it slide because of the whole context of how this movie came out.
So I couldn't get over the fact that it was called Anti-Life for the longest freaking time. Because for me, that's like unobtainium levels of bad naming.
I mean, it's from the
I think
comics.
we gotta
You do not poke
Yeah.
fun at unobtainium, okay? You do not.
Why? Are you going to defend unobtainium to me?
Yes, I am.
Why?
What else? What else are you going to call that? In a movie
Anything.
like The Core,
Ryan,
what are you
anything.
going to call that? What? Give me a name.
It's not the core, it's Avatar. It's James Cameron, the person who single-handedly resurrected the Titanic. He could have named this element anything in the world. What do you call? He had a team of writers who sat down and thought, what do you call an element that you can't obtain? And someone
Unobtainium.
just threw out unobtainium, and they're like, pay that man $50,000 a year.
Yeah, and he should.
Nope.
Avatar is the highest grossing movie in box office history again. We will not be talking bad about Avatar. I don't want those blue people hunting me down.
It was called the same thing in The Core too. Just put it out there.
I didn't know it was the same thing in the core.
The
Wait,
same thing in The Core. They're in the same universe.
Core dropped down a bit in my rankings, by the way.
How? It's already at rock bottom. It's just entertaining.
It was up there.
So, in the chat, I see that comment, Bill. I don't think these guys will get it, but
What?
Granny,
I see
where's
you.
my anti-life equation?
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah.
No.
So let's talk about Cyborg because we hinted about his storyline changing a lot. But his dad's storyline is actually there this time. And this is what I thought you were going to be happy about, Ryan, is that his dad is actually in this film.
Because there were two things I was kind of going for, and that's one of them, because I love that actor. Ever since I was a kid and I saw Terminator 2, I've loved that actor.
That's where I've seen him before.
So I was very happy to see him in it. Not exactly real happy to see how he died, but the reason why he died was, I get it, and it was a great sacrifice for, the character. The other thing I thought you were going to bring up was the fact that I said holy product placement Batman, or before, well, no, I said obvious, I wrote down obvious Mustang placement is obvious. And and that was about the 5.0 Mustang that was parked outside the coffee shop when Lois walks out, and it's like a complete grayed off black background across the street. And there by her knee is this nice, bright, shiny 5.0 on the side of a Mustang. So there was that. But with him and the football stuff, that's what I thought you were going to be bringing up with me. That whole sequence looked exactly like and done in almost the same style as an Adrian Peterson commercial that aired back in like 2009, 2010 for Nike Pro Combat padding for football players. And when I saw that whole football sequence, I'm like, oh, this is ripped off a Nike commercial. This is ripped off a Nike.
Wow, I never would have caught anything like that.
Me neither.
Yeah, Adrian Peterson did a thing for like Nike Pro Gear, and it was just like it's rainy and gritty and people are slamming into each other and he's doing all this crazy wonky stuff on the football field to get around, but he keeps on getting hit at the same time. And it had the same feel to it. I'm just like, man, like I know this is a Nike commercial, and I had to Google it, and it was like, oh, it's Adrian Peterson. That's who I thought it was. And yeah. But that and the Under Armour thing on the back of his varsity jacket. Oh, yeah. Holy cow. That must have had like 20 seconds of film time in this movie.
Yeah.
So
he always
did some. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say because he always wears it in the Mind Palace thing.
Yeah, it's just holy Under Armour Batman.
It's so comfortable. So there's something they do with Cyborg's character where they try to set up that he's a very smart. Like they give him a character pre-turning into Cyborg, which is something the Whedon cut didn't do. Part of his character is that he's super smart, right? He's super smart, super athletic. Mm-hmm. Can we stop showing kids as being smart and stop like saying that a smart kid has to hack into the school's computer to change their grades. I'm so sick of that.
I mean, that's what all the smart kids at my high school did.
No one's done that in my high school.
Chad, how much do you have to pay them to do that for you?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit because probably no one knew how to.
I'm surprised your school had computers.
We did. We asked Andrew Goodman. We had like 2 rooms with computers. That was about it.
Yeah, I really liked how they showed him dealing with his powers and the whole he can manipulate the banks and the stock market, and that they focus in on this this Asian American woman who's struggling, and like I don't know if it's just because of last week with everything that happened that it just hit home for me a little bit more, but I really love that sequence.
Okay, so there's a pet peeve of mine that is about as ridiculous as Devin's with the whole smart kids hacking into stuff, because I want more of smart kids hacking into stuff personally. So I'm just going to be on that side of the coin.
Okay.
Do they need to show poor people giving to charity to make people think that they deserve the charity that they're going to get? I'm tired of like seeing that in there. Like, she needs help regardless if she gives her tip money to the homeless guy.
I think,
and I don't know. I'm sorry.
So I think that was shown just to show you that even though she's in need, she is the kind of person who will help those who are worse off than her.
True.
At the detriment of herself.
True. And I totally get that. It's just I want to get to a point where the fact that she's struggling is enough to convey to a general audience that she needs help, and that they don't need to show a scene of her being charitable during hard times for her to get the money that she has. Plus, this movie also drives home the point that money is completely made up and means nothing.
I mean,
well, and I think you bring up a good point here. At a certain point, there is stuff that could have been cut out of this film, but because he has 4 hours of runtime, and there was a possibility of this being a TV show, I think that would have that makes sense to be there. I think you definitely could cut some of the fat out of this, and that's one of those moments. Like, maybe not so much with her. Like, I think there are better ways. Like, you don't have to show as much. Like, you could cut some of that stuff, and it'd still drive home the point.
Yeah.
Like maybe show her giving to that guy, and then show the eviction, but don't show some of the other stuff. Like,
because the thing is, I actually really like the whole sequence. I actually like how much stuff that they showed, because it really drives home the point of like she's working, she's trying. It's like she's doing everything that she can. And it's just that there's other movies where they do stuff like that, where they'll show somebody who's in need and under, that they're drowning pretty much. And then they'll show something where it's like, well, and they're also charitable. It's like, oh, this person's having a hard time. They're also charitable. Oh, this person's also having a good, is having a hard time, but they volunteer. And it's like, okay, that's great. Can we get to a point where the fact that they're in trouble is enough? Enough, and this has nothing to do really with the movie. This is just a whole topic thing that I see in other movies and other entertainment that I'm starting to get sick of.
I mean, the cynic in me is like, well, they have to show it because terrible people are terrible, and that you don't want like someone to walk away from that scene like, well, Cyborg just funded her drug addiction, which like, if you're that, don't think that.
Exactly. So, but I mean, I liked all of it. It's just that kind of that got me the wrong way.
So, looking at some of the other characters, because we focused on the Flash and Cyborg a lot, there's only one real big thing that they added with Aquaman that changes his story for me, and it's the scene with Willem Dafoe. Because they kind of explain where he gets his trident and his armor, in that scene. Because if you watch Aquaman after watching Justice League, wait, how does he have a trident and armor if he has to go get a trident and armor? And that's the whole point of this movie.
Yeah, that was kind of a shock for me. I guess I was expecting, because I remember watching the Snyder Cut and they had said, starring Willem Dafoe. I went, oh, I didn't know Willem Dafoe was in this. And then I was expecting it in the theatrical cut, and it's like, no, where's my Willem Dafoe?
I
put
I
him
know-
here.
My Willem Dafoe.
I have a
Yeah.
feeling Zack Snyder just called everyone who was in Spider-Man and just tried to get them.
Yeah.
Like Tobey Maguire ignored the call.
He's like, I'm not doing this again.
Do you guys think of anything else that was changed for Aquaman besides Mera's accent?
They definitely, the one thing that stuck, like, they definitely made him more of basically an asshole in the theatrical cut, I felt like.
Yeah.
Was that,
Yeah.
or is that just me? I don't know. I feel like because from going Snyder cut to the theatrical cut, in the Snyder cut, he was very, I mean, you got the sense of, he does his own thing. He's kind of, his own person. He doesn't like to be responsible for anything. But in the Joss Whedon cut, and I saw Bill mention it too. First of all, they didn't have that weird scene where he's sitting on the rope going, "Oh yeah, Wonder Woman's hot,"
Right.
and then going on to his whole thing. I don't know. They didn't have that. Plus, I felt like in the theatrical cut, like most of the scenes with Aquaman was him just brooding and saying, "Oh well, this is stupid. Why are we doing this? Oh, I
Dress
told
as a
you
bat."
this is gonna happen. Dress as a bat." Like,
Yeah. It definitely. I like the lasso of truth scene, but I definitely don't need it. Like,
yeah.
it's a funny bit. It's a bit, but that's all it is. Like, I don't need it more.
I think I would have liked the bit a little bit more if like he just wasn't, if it wasn't as much of an asshole. But I think it kind of goes back to like where they were teaming up and there was a lot of that bickering.
Mhm.
Like, because all he added to the bickering was him just being drunk in a corner and just
Yeah.
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 So I think maybe if they didn't have that, I would have liked it a little bit better. But it felt like it just kind of pushed him further. It's like, okay, why do we like Aquaman?
Yeah.
Does anybody like Aquaman?
He has a line in this that whoever wrote this deserves credit because they actually made me a fan of Aquaman for 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
What
the
was
line?
it?
This is the line. No one calls me king of the surface.
Yep.
And in that one line, to me, that reads that whoever wrote that line pretty much is like just putting out one giant flag to everybody who's ever made fun of Aquaman because, oh, what's he going to do on the surface? They pretty much wrote this line and saying, look, we understand that this is kind of a joke with like half of you, so we're just going to give you this to chuckle.
Mm-hmm.
Just to like understand that yes, we too in the writers' room understand your with them, so we're gonna give you this line. And I was like, I'm like, I like him now.
The other thing with him was his introduction to the team. So there's that whole tunnel sequence which changes a lot with
Yeah.
the way they fight. But the biggest difference to me was his arrival. Like there's just that one shot of him hovering in the water that's gushing into this tunnel and you just see his eyes and you see Wonder Woman looking at him and it's just a moment, but I was like, why did you cut that? Like that's amazing.
I know.
Like I love that shot so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, that whole scene was kind of that got changed quite a bit because that was also like where they really made Barry Allen kind of come across as kind of.
I hate him in that scene.
Where
in
he's like,
the
"What?
Whedon cut.
I've never fought before. What do I do?" But like in the Snyder cut, he's like, "Okay, I know what I'm gonna do." He actually shows him like, "Oh, this is a smart person who knows like."
Yeah.
Because he knows how to help out, and that really changed. I was to say the other thing that, and this I was kind of going back to what we were talking about before. The other thing that really changes in the Whedon cut, as soon as Steppenwolf showed up, I just went, "Who the hell is that?"
Yeah, he looks completely different. And we talked about this last week, but his whole character design is phenomenal. Like he's wearing like an actual suit of armor.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing. I love the way that the light bounces off of it.
How it moves and
I love how it moves. And I sent you guys what I've been talking about, starting from like the first one. Chad, you didn't get this. These guys did. I took the song "The Pusher," which I mispronounced and said "The Punisher" on our last. What I meant was "The Pusher." The beginning part of that song with Steppenwolf coming down out of the tube thing,
Boom tube.
I guess the Rainbow Bridge tube. I
Boom
don't
tube.
know the DC version of it.
Boom tube.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And I feel like it works, and I'm still upset that there is no Steppenwolf song actually in this movie.
That would have been pretty nice.
But you get Icelandic chanting.
Yeah, no,
Does
that
that
didn't
make
work
up
for
for
me.
it?
I really want to talk about this. She looked dead, and it was creepy. Okay, I'm sorry. I know she's Icelandic. I know that they're really pale. There's not a lot of light up there because of the clouds. I get it. Okay, but her eyes are really sunken in, and that's fine too. It's perfectly fine. It was a combination of things: the grays, the really gray sky. She was extremely pale. They were singing out of tune. I didn't understand what was going on. When you watch it with closed captioning, there's no explanation of what they're singing in,
Yeah.
I would say
and it's creepy.
for me, it was like, okay, this is a nice little tune, but like, I guess I was sitting here going, I guess she loves Aquaman. That's why we're singing. Like,
I didn't know if it was like a religious thing, if it was,
So-
like
I thought it was a
cultural
religious thing.
I
Like-
looked at it as he comes to the village on the King's Tide. So
Mhm.
it's them chanting as a thank you, like as a
You know
worship of this being.
And I totally would have gotten that if more than 3 of them were singing and she wasn't sniffing the crap out of his sweater.
yeah, that was
She
what it
could just be a fangirl. Like,
She might be, yeah.
That's
hey,
That's-
we all have our
that's
fandoms.
fine.
We all have our
Would you
That's
fandoms.
not-
fine.
would
If
you
she
not
was
sniff-
sniffing the sweater and there were at least 15 people chanting along with them, then I totally would have been like, okay, it's a religious thing and she's a fan. It's fine. But
This is
there's
what they
3 of
do.
them, and one of them walks forward.
Hey man, if Jason Momoa threw his sweater at you, wouldn't you sniff it?
Yes.
No.
Yes, I would.
Oh, I would. No, I would.
That's fine
Absolutely.
if you two want to. I've spent more than enough time in bars where guys like that hang out, and I'm fine. I don't need to smell any more of that. I'm sorry, but stale cigarette smoke stale cigarette smoke is. You guys want that? That's fine. I'm not gonna hate.
So
I'm not gonna hate on you. For
in
it.
the chat, people were saying the chanting was too extra. I would have preferred more Alfred. That's my one complaint about this movie is I wanted more Alfred.
Yeah, he
They
was
toned
great.
him down a lot in
They
this.
didn't.
they
They
did.
didn't tone him down. They just didn't give him much. Like his
So
his best moment is Bruce Wayne saying, "This is Alfred. I work for him," like which is a great moment. But
yeah. The thing, they cut the scene where Alfred says, "Do you want me to give her a note that says, will you join my team? Yes or no?" Like they cut that completely out. That was probably the thing is, and that didn't seem like a reshoot. That seemed like it was probably left on the cutting room floor of of stuff that the guy who actually did this did of like the new version. It's like I'm losing my names here. It looked like it was part of the original set that was supposed to be in it, and it was cut out for some reason by the director who wanted it originally, not the replacement.
So what so that brings up a good point is Diana seems more on board with the team thing in this one than she did in the Justice League. So I think that that was part of the reshoots because there is a little bit of conflict between her and Bruce of her not wanting to join the team until she knows that there's a threat, and then like the whole Superman thing, like that's gone completely. Like they're both on the same page the whole time. I don't think that you need Alfred making jokes about passing notes in this one as much.
She's
would've
already on board.
Yeah.
Well,
She's part of the team from the get-go.
Yeah, she was very much part of the team, and I like the one joke that she made with the so when he talked about Aquaman, it's like, so did he say he joined? Yeah, more or less. He said no, didn't he?
Yeah. So my thing is that from what I remember from Batman versus Superman, there was a bit of a like interest between the two of them, or at least Bruce was interested in her. And that's the angle I'm going at, where even in the other version, where that's where Alfred was like, okay, fine, do you want me to like write a note, as in like, like in like in middle school, like, do you like me, yes or no? And I thought he was making a reference to that, going to ask her because Bruce like actually liked her. Like, I thought he was making a joke about his crush on her, about her joining the team. I didn't take it as, there's conflict to where she doesn't want to be on the team. Because I think at that point, they haven't even talked yet in the movie about her wanting to join in. So that's the angle I'm coming from on it, and why I'm like, why didn't they have it in it?
So we're running late, but Devin, are you still good to go for a little bit more?
Oh yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I know it's later where you are, so I just wanted to check in.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, there is a different dynamic in the two films between those two characters, and so I do like the Alfred making jokes like about Batman being single, because he does.
Yeah.
That's all he does in Batman v
Yeah.
Superman. He makes those jokes and he chops wood. So let's talk about Wonder Woman's introduction in this, because holy hell.
I like it so much better.
Chad,
Yeah, me too.
Chad, you and I went to film school.
Yep.
I feel like a few years from now, in film school, they're going to be showing this scene both ways to show the importance of editing and score,
direction.
because holy hell, does it make a difference?
Oh, it does. 100%.
I love this version of the scene so much more. The stakes are higher. And all of that footage was there because I went back and watched the Justice version of it, and it doesn't use the assets that are there. Like, they focus on that briefcase, but they don't show that it's a bomb until it's already counting down. It's like, why?
No, definitely. Yeah, because when I watched the Whedon cut, it felt like they were jumping ahead. It's like, okay, the scene. Wait, no, that's the bomb. That's the bomb, right? Yeah, that's the bomb. And it felt a lot lighter. Like I said, the stakes are higher in the Snyder cut. They take their time to really kind of pace it out, and they really made the bad guys. I felt they kind of explained the bad guys a little bit more too. Like, these are people who, like, want to blow everything back to Kingdom Come, and like they show them like grabbing the kids before it, because in the Whedon cut they're just like, oh, by the way, there's kids here. Show them grabbing the kids, and like the kids like see the bomb and start screaming, and it was just a lot more, for lack of a better phrase, badass.
Yeah,
It was though.
no, it was.
Yeah, it was.
And it was heartwarming, because at the end of that, you have her checking on all of these students who were just witness to all of this and held hostage.
Yep.
And that one girl who's just afraid, and she goes to comfort her and says, like, she looks at one of them and says, "Can I be like you someday?"
Yep.
And like, God, like,
Yep.
for a Zack Snyder movie, that hit me right in the heart. Like, that was heartwarming.
Can I bring up one thing though that I kind of joked about, like, to myself when I saw it? Okay, so did she really need to blow the wall off the side of the bank? Like, really?
That one was a little bit much, but it set up that power for the rest of the movie, where you like always knew where she was like winding up. You're like, she's doing it again.
Yep. That is true.
It did, but it just, like, to me, like, that's a Sokovia Accords like joke right there. Like, that's like, like letting a plane full of people crash, like in The Boys. Like, like, how many first responders might have died from all that stone and marble raining down on top of the cop cars?
I mean,
I can see that, but
Fair.
I guess
I mean, fair.
It's still a good payoff, because like
I said, I was jokingly like mocking it in my head when it happened, because like I totally get it. It was really cool. I absolutely love the whole thing. But like when she did it and they show the hat going down, I'm like, she blew the wall off of 2 stories of this old building for one guy.
At the same time, you have to remember, they made a whole sequel to Man of Steel where Batman was mad that buildings fell. So maybe
That's
they're
true.
trying to set up a Wonder Woman sequel.
Batman versus Wonder Woman.
So while we're talking about her, then Chad had mentioned that I think they love not hearing me complain about Steve Obsessed Diana, which I won't get into, I promise. But did she have much of a like arc in this? Because like basically everybody gets an arc. in this, and she's like, okay, I'm on board with the team, and like that's kind of where she sits.
I think her arc is I'm back in society now. Like I'm back to be the hero that I need to be.
Mhm.
The world needs me right now, so I'm going to step up to the plate and play my part.
Yeah.
Because she's the
Stop
one
being so secluded.
She's the one who knows about the arrow burning at the Amazon temple, and does like the whole Indiana Jones exploration of the cave thing.
But I love that because I love that you know why she knows what she does, and not just like, she knows she's Wonder Woman. Amazonians just all know this.
Well, and I think part of it is her learning to work with the team, because there is that conflict between her and Aquaman, because Amazons and Atlanteans don't like each other.
Yeah.
Her arc
And
was
they have-
finding out the history and not sleeping with Kristen Wiig anymore.
Look, this movie makes me hate Wonder Woman 84 more because her character makes no sense after looking at where she ends that movie. And I actually really don't like that.
I haven't seen it, and I'm so scared to watch it.
Don't.
I've been told not to watch it. I've been told. Alan's wife even told me in chat last week, like she wished she had never seen it. So, but part of me wants to watch just for curiosity. But was it you or I thought it was Ryan that mentioned the her keep mentioning the Steve.
That was me. I'm the one that cares about that.
And I counted. I remember watching the Snyder Cut and counting how many times she mentioned.
How
Steve.
many times, Chad?
I think if I remember correctly, I counted 3.
Okay.
And I'll say the first, because she mentioned it the one time with Batman. She's like, "Oh, I know someone who would have loved to fly this." I'm forgiving her for that one. It's like, okay, yeah, we know about Steve. The second one, I forget what the second one was, but the third one is when she's talking to that scene with Cyborg.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that one I kind of think was motivated because she was trying to relate to.
That one made sense.
Yeah. So, but I was counting.
Good. Thank you for counting.
So
I still don't understand the way
Well,
you
look,
interpret that. But
No,
it's
here's
okay.
and I thought about it. I distilled it after a week, and the reason that it bothers me so much is the point of Wonder Woman 84 is that she needs to get over this one guy and live her life as the full independent woman that she is. Why is she still going on about him? She's independent now. The 80s happened, baby.
Because so
we've done enough.
We don't
talking
have
about-
to.
yeah,
we don't have to.
I will say
when
this.
I
Go ahead.
when you have somebody in your life that took up a good chunk of it, you're always going to be bringing them up one way or another, regardless if you tell somebody about it or not.
I mean, that's fair.
And
I can't argue with that.
They knew
And I'm
each other.
talking specifically about love interests.
Okay.
Regardless of how long ago the relationship was, how long ago it ended, how it ended, they're still going to affect who you are going forward. And depending on how strong that relationship was, even though it ended, there are times when, regardless if you say it or not, they're gonna come up in your brain, and they're going to cause you to make a decision one way or the other. That's why I have no issue with her bringing up Steve.
I'm glad they didn't rely on it too much as her story beat, because in the other one it felt like it was just them pounding that into the ground and repeatedly mentioning it for no reason. I think the chat just gave me an idea for a spin-off show that we need to do called Chad, Don't Watch It.
Is it just a show where you try to convince me not to watch something?
No, it's a show where we just make you watch bad movies and talk about them. Like, Chad,
I could go on all
I
day.
love bad movies.
Same.
Oh, that might be a thing. Stay tuned. Okay, so do we want to talk about the end of this movie?
Yeah,
Okay.
I need it.
Well,
I need it.
First of all, Steppenwolf's death
Was bad. Oh,
metal as fuck.
oh, when
Loved
she
it.
jumps up, oh my god, I love it. As soon as you see him start flying, I'm sorry, I've been waiting for this. He starts going into the portal, and you just see Wonder Woman just. It's like, is she gonna do it? And fuck yeah, she did. Sorry.
But even before that, we have the Flash time travel.
Yep, that was.
Yeah.
I was so surprised when watching the theatrical cut. I was like, okay, so how is this going to be different? And then it's like, okay, it's probably going to be similar. But it's like, well, no, they didn't introduce like Cyborg's parents at all. Like, so you're not going to have that cool scene where he's like in the cube and he sees like himself, what he wants, and
Mhm.
like I was like, oh, how's this? And that was, for me, that was quite shocking because like I thought the way that because they really set the precedent when bringing back Superman that, oh, by the way, the Flash can go faster than the speed of light and time travel, and then in this one I mean, I'll let Alan talk about that part. But yeah, and he like that's a big thing is where he have the explosion, he goes back in time and saves everyone. It's just awesome.
And it was a great moment for that character too, because he's like, I shouldn't do this. It's dangerous, but I have to. There's no other choice. And just the visuals and like him talking about his dad, it really sold me on Ezra Miller as the Flash. Like I've been iffy on him with all of the stuff that's come out about him as a person outside of the films, but as a character, that was the one moment. Was like I can really buy him as the Flash. And the one thing this movie didn't do, which I'm glad, they gave everyone else their names, like Cyborg and Aquaman, but they didn't give him the name the Flash because he gets that in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, which I'm glad
I didn't realize that. That's cool.
I'm glad they stuck with that. But yeah, that whole end sequence with Superman coming in
In a black suit.
in the
with the
black,
In a black
suit.
So
Yeah.
the scene that I was talking about before is Superman at his Fortress of Solitude getting the suit, like with Jonathan Kent and Jor-El both doing their monologues, and then the monologues changing into new dialogue. It's like, you go get him, Kent. Just go. Just do it.
I loved it.
I loved every second of that so much. The only thing that would have made it better was seeing Russell Crowe and Kevin Costner show up as like Force ghosts.
That would
No. Walking out of a field of corn, both of them.
No. Both of them just sitting in the cornfield, like after he's back and like with Lois.
They have to walk through the corn, like Bruce Wayne and Clark. They're walking towards the house, and they do the whole bit about Bruce buying the bank, and then like in the background you hear like a "Hey, son," and then they both turn around and.
Is that season 2 Homer Simpson? Like,
and out comes both of them walking out of the cornfield.
That's an awesome. Build it, Ray.
And that feeds right into my Kevin Costner fan theory. Oh, this is going to be great.
Oh, there we go.
You guys towards the end of the season.
Okay, so let's talk about that. I bought the bank thing. So Bruce says something to Clark that there are two ways of thinking about it. He congratulates him. He's like, I hear congratulations are in order. Do you think that's about the engagement or something else?
Something else.
I think it's something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
100%.
The engagement? I'm lost on this.
She's wearing his engagement ring that he never gave to her from Batman v Superman. That's why when he's sitting in the field,
that's why I'm saying engagement, because that's the only thing I knew that he would be like saying that about, because of the whole like her finding the ring and everything. Like
there's something else.
Yeah, Ryan. You remember how we always talk about Chekhov's gun?
What did I miss?
You missed Chekhov's pregnancy test in the drawer.
In the drawer?
Yeah.
Seriously, what scene?
When
she's laying in bed.
When she's grabbing her press patch to go visit.
How
the
big
Statue
is the
of Liberty.
pregnancy test?
Oh, it's pretty
How
big.
big is it
It's
on the
pretty
screen?
big.
Like most of the drawer.
Yeah. And that plays into where the sequels were gonna go. Do we want to talk about?
Need a baby
do we want to talk about this now?
I do.
So, in the sequels, Lois Lane was going to be pregnant and have a child. Later on, it was going to be revealed that it's not Clark's kid. It's Bruce's.
Wait, really?
Yeah. And then that kid would grow up to be the new Batman when Bruce dies.
No, I actually really don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like that it's Bruce's kid.
The fact that Zack Snyder told this in an interview means one of two things. One, we're never going to get a sequel to this. Two, if we do get a sequel, that's not going to be the storyline.
It better not.
Yeah.
When it would have been awful for her character, because when would that have happened?
Probably right after the funeral. Like,
Hey, you're
Because-
single now, huh?
because there's not much time between Batman v Superman and this. Like,
No.
there's very little time. Maybe like a month.
That plus they made it very clear that she was in mourning because like that whole conversation between her and Martha Kent, like,
Yeah.
oh, I heard you haven't been in work, haven't been to work for
Yeah.
weeks. It's like
Yeah.
they made it very clear that she was very much in not a great place and she was very much not doing anything.
Yeah.
So.
So that was going to be part of the sequel storyline.
Gross.
The other part of it was going to deal with the nightmare sequence that we got to see a lot more of in this. So let's talk about that a little bit and the return of Jared Leto's Joker. What did you guys think of Jared Leto's Joker in this?
He didn't do the society speech.
He didn't. I thought he was gonna do it.
I think that was a
The fact that they even had it in the commercial for the meme is damn brilliant. Like Zack Snyder's just leading into the people who have been tweeting hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Like he did it for the meme, and that is, to me, that is beautiful.
that's what I think he did it for the meme.
I didn't hate him as the Joker. I think he was fine. I think he was kind of a lot of what the Joker could be or should be.
In
So
a
I didn't hate him.
post-apocalyptic society.
Right. I mean, like in that situation, I guess that's the Joker. Sure. I don't know about if I like the whole thing about the card, but like I don't know if that's a thing the Joker does.
I
think in the
like
comics-
that.
Yeah.
Did you
It
like
felt
that?
very Two-Face for me.
It felt
That
a little
almost felt like the
non-Jokery.
coin. That almost felt like the coin for Two-Face. But I was fine with it, given the situation that they were dealing with. I was fine with it.
The two things that I took out of that conversation were the reach around line, which was jarring but makes sense for that version of the Joker, and Batman's line of, when Harley Quinn died in my arms, she told me to make sure you die a slow and painful death, and that's
Right.
going to happen. I was like, damn. Like,
yeah, shit got
I
real.
want to see more. Like this is the first time we've seen Batman and Joker interact on screen since The Dark Knight, and that was the most intense moment between those two characters I've ever seen. Because then Joker just gives him a look. It's like, you almost had me. But oh man, I want more Ben Affleck as Batman.
I like Ben Affleck as Batman. I
do
remember
too.
I was very I was very cautious when I first heard about him, but I really I like him as Batman.
Like it's a shame we'll never get to see his version of the Batman, but I think we have Joss Whedon to thank for that. So, because those reshoots, it had to be those reshoots that got him out of it.
Yeah.
The fact
I
that he
think
was
it
willing
was.
to recal up for the reshoots for this and for the Flash movie means that something happened there that we're not privy to. But seeing what these two films are, I think it's kind of obvious why he walked away.
Yeah.
And it sucks because they gave us a Batman with a history that's pretty much unlike what other versions of Batman we've seen so far. And like, I wanted to know more. Like, I want to know, like, what is his relationship with the Joker? They talk about Robin a little bit in the, and like how he died, I think.
Yeah.
And like, show me that.
Yeah.
I didn't get it.
And then the other post-credit scenes were Lex Luthor and Deathstroke setting up the Batman, which we'll never see. And then Bruce Wayne waking up from the nightmare and talking to Martian Manhunter, which was totally part of the reshoots. And do you guys want to see more of this? Yeah, that's high praise. I don't know if you
That's
guys
really
have-
high praise. Sorry, I just chat just said he's up there with Keaton.
Yeah, not
Batfleck.
just chat.
No.
My wife just said he's up there with Keaton for her. Do you guys want to see more of this Snyderverse. Right now, the movement is restore the Snyderverse. What do you guys think about the Snyderverse? Do you want to see more of these characters going forward?
I do
Yes.
because I think, and I guess yeah, because I think the whole apocalyptic scene, the Batman scene, I'm pretty sure that's an alternate timeline that was started by the Flash. Because when they do the whole thing, because the Unity comes together, explodes, kills them all, and then he goes back in time basically and kind of redoes it.
So no, what that is that is the future, and they spend a lot, like they're going to try to get the Flash to travel back in time to prevent that from happening.
Okay, so similar, but I kind of have it backwards.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Yeah, I definitely want to see a lot more. I want to see where a lot of this kind of goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so right now there's been a lot of news about DC's future and future projects. I think they just announced today that the writer of Promising Young Woman, which was nominated for a bunch of Oscars, is writing a Zatanna film.
Yep.
For DC and Bad Robot. So J.J. Abrams is coming in as producer on a lot of DC things going forward. The new Superman script is going to be by them. Can you see somebody like J.J. Abrams coming on to produce and keeping these characters and rebuilding this universe from this point on, not and keeping the actors the same, like keeping Henry Cavill as Superman? Or do you see them just rebooting? What do you think will happen?
I think they're going to reboot. I mean, I feel like with the Robert Pattinson Batman, I feel like they're already starting it. And I think that they're just going to be like, all right, these are the actors we got. The movie did well. Let's just keep going, which is such a shame.
Yeah. I think they're going to reboot. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No. Chad, you go.
I would say I think they're going to reboot because I want to say, I think I read they had an interview with the one executive, I think it was, for WB. And they mentioned that when they're building out this universe, they kind of wanted to let everyone kind of have their own take, as like having multiple universes of the same characters in parallel timelines. It's kind of how he explained that he wanted to go with it, or how they wanted to go with it. So I think we're going to get more reboots, which in one way I'm kind of excited for, because I'm kind of I kind of want to see see what other people have to do, but also I don't want to see Batman's parents die for the 100th time.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I go ahead, Ryan.
I would love to see a continuation of the Snyderverse, I guess. But my gut is telling me that with Abrams taking the wheel on this, I feel like their styles are so different that if they tried, it would not work.
Well, he's not going to be directing, as far as we know. He's going to be producing. So Bad Robot's done a lot of things.
Yeah.
Not much of which has been directed by J.J. Abrams. They were responsible for Cloverfield.
Okay.
So
So I'm fine with the reboots. I feel like that exec saying that the whole like reboot and like multiple universes and all that other stuff, I feel like that's kind of a cop out. But that's, I mean, I'm excited for what's coming next. I just hope that it's good and not what we had in the original version of this.
Yep.
Hope it's good.
Yeah, I really don't want to see these actors go, but it does get to a point where what do you do if you're not acknowledging this universe anymore? Like, do you have Gal Gadot stay on as Wonder Woman? Is Jason Momoa staying on as Aquaman? Like, I think there is room to build a new universe out of these films, out of this universe, with these actors, and shift the tone a bit, and still have room to grow and tell stories that you want to tell with these other characters. Kind of like Shazam. Like, Shazam doesn't fit the Snyderverse at all, but it's still set there. So I hope that's what happens. I will say this about the last few Stingers. They did feel like end credit scenes to me. My wife's biggest complaint was the film had so many endings. And I told her, like, that's because of the tribute at the end. Like, if it wasn't for that tribute, I could see those scenes spread out throughout the credits. Like you have a post credit scene, and then mid credit scene, and then tail end scene.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the way they did this because I've never been a real fan, to be perfectly honest, of end credit scenes ever since Iron Man.
Oh, really?
And to be honest, it's one of the reasons why I don't really ever go see Marvel films when they were in theaters unless I'm invited with a group of people to go, because I am not sitting through the credits at a movie theater to watch a 10-second clip, especially when they put important stuff in them. And it always irked me for the fact that they did that.
Well, it always makes this like weird tension where you're like, do we stand up?
Yeah.
Do we do it? Like, and then like if you know that it's gonna happen, but you see people, you'd be like, idiots, you're not gonna see it.
That's me.
Yeah,
I'm that
exactly.
guy judging
Yeah.
you.
And
Go, me
that's,
too.
and that's one more thing that was just added to the whole experience that I don't like.
Yeah.
The fact be like, look, I know that there's an end credit scene in this, but I don't care. I'm leaving. And then you have all the people sitting there, and you have all the memes online of like people making fun of people who stand up and leave as the credits are rolling. It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, but how long did you live for before you knew that there was an end credit scene to Ferris Bueller?
Oh, I knew right away because they show it right at the end on TBS.
That's fine. But I'm just saying, I hate the whole concept of end credit scenes.
Well,
if you're going to do that, show it 5 seconds after the actual end of the movie and then bring it up.
My whole thing with post credit scenes is it does make people sit there and look at the people who made the thing that they just consumed for $8. And I'm fine with that. The good news is, Ryan, for Black Widow, you can fast forward on Disney Plus. So there you go.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I know, and I do. And I do that all the time. The problem is that for a lot of people, they don't look at the credits. They look at their phones. They talk to the people with them. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it's great that there's people's names up there and they're getting recognized, but I don't really care who the assistant boom operator was.
it was Chad. You don't care about
Chad.
Chad.
He was giving us those eyes. It was him.
I'm sorry, but I mean, it's that's my response to the whole making.
You're
people
outnumbered by
read the credits.
film majors here, buddy.
That's fine. I am totally fine with being outnumbered by film majors. What I want to know is, so then why is it only recently that end credit scenes are an actual thing, and never in any of the stuff that you guys studied that there actually was?
I mean,
I didn't go to film school. I'm out of this one.
It's a gimmick to get people to stay and to piss off the movie theaters because they can't clean the theaters because people are still standing there. Like
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I'll admit, there's no real.
So you're trolling the movie theaters.
We're not. It's Kevin Feige. It's all Kevin Feige's fault. Chad, what were you gonna say?
I was just say I'll admit, I don't think there's any real need for, post-credit sequences. They're kind of fun. Like, oh, did you know do one? I guess I can take or leave them. Like, they're kind of cool. But
it's just a tease. It's so like at the end of Thor: The Dark World, for example, you get Lady Sif taking the ether to the Collector, and like Alan Taylor didn't direct that. That was all James Gunn. So you get a little tease of what the next thing's going to be, like the next movie, and you get the other director in there. So if there's a tonal shift, it makes a little bit more sense. Like Taika Waititi coming in to direct the post-credit scene of Doctor Strange makes sense because it's a little bit weirder with the bottle of beer and all that. So it gives you a little tease of what's coming. But doesn't really affect the director's vision of what you saw before those credits.
And it's now spawned my new favorite brand of dad joke, where if you're out at the movies and it's not a Marvel or superhero movie, You sit there way too long in the credits, turn to who you went with and go, do you think Samuel L. Jackson's going to be in the end credits scene? I do it every time. Ask Romana. It's never funny.
What was before COVID, what was the last movie you did that for?
Is it the Rebel Wilson movie, Isn't It Romantic?
That's fantastic.
That was the last one.
He wasn't, but Thor's brother was in it.
Oh, he was, wasn't he?
God, why do I know
Aw.
that? Why do
I'm
I
happy you
know
do.
that? Okay, we had some questions from people on Facebook.
Yeah.
Devin, what was the questions you pulled? We'll do those.
So the one question I pulled was, if you guys could live in any movie universe, any movie world, what would it be?
Any movie universe.
I used to have a very definite answer to this because I understand it's kind of springing it on you. I would have loved to live in the Matrix, but like know the Matrix was a thing. Like mine is the whole like, having to live a gross, like grungy life. I think it would be cool to like, hey, I'm going to go fly now and just do that. I used to think about that a lot.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one.
I would have Back to the Future. I want to have a
So just the 80s?
No, like Back to the Future, but present day, like that world where hoverboards actually exist, and I want hoverboards.
The 80s vision of the future.
I want flying cars. That's what I want. Like the 80s vision of the future. Gray Sports Almanac, yeah, all that stuff. Not the Biff Tannen running the casino part of it, but everything else. Give me that.
Gotcha. Whew.
Oh, my wife brought up a good point. The Simpsons.
Oh, that's a good one.
I can live in Springfield. They have a donut shop. They have the Quickie Mart. Who needs the Quickie Mart? I do.
I'm not sure, but I'd probably want to live somewhere I could have magic. Somewhere I can like, where I could just be lazy and be on the couch and like, a cup of water come to me. Or,
Magician's
like,
Apprentice starring Nicolas Cage. Got it.
Maybe not quite like that. I don't know. Probably
I like that
fantasy.
movie. Shut up.
I did too.
I like that too.
Okay,
I thought it was a good movie.
I wanted to make sure that wasn't like a diss or something.
No,
I've
not
never
at
seen
all.
it. I have no opinion. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's a good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. It would definitely be either Lord of the Rings universe or I don't know, maybe Harry Potter. So, like I said, somewhere where I can just make my life easier just by using magic.
That'd be cool.
Chad, you just want to live in the Wall-E ship, don't you?
I want to live in the Wall-E ship.
I mean, in a way, but I guess yeah, but not technology. But not with
Okay.
technology. With
Okay.
magic.
Okay.
I'd still have a
Uh,
fun.
Ryan, what's yours?
So the first two worlds universes that popped in my head was Starship Troopers and Star Trek, and I'm not sure which one I want to go towards.
Star Trek would be cool.
Starship Troopers would be horrifying.
Yeah, do you want to do your part, Ryan? Is that it?
No, it's not that. It's the fact that I enjoy Starship Troopers so much that it just living to see how the actual like world is would be interesting. Like as a civilian, not as a military person. Like to see how the government, the world actually works, how many planets they've actually colonized, like stuff like that. Like just the whole world building part of it. But the Star Trek thing comes to mind because, to be honest, Deep Space Nine is my favorite TV show, period, that's ever aired, from what I've seen. And I love the concept of that space station and Bajor, and I love the world, and I love the culture that they built for that planet. And so be like a Starfleet medical officer that's doing research on Bajor or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I hate the fact that that's where I'm landing, but because I mean, like I'm thinking of like the video games that I play and like those worlds, and I'd love to be in like I would love to do the whole Division thing, but I mean to be like an all powerful secret agent running around with a technology that I shouldn't have in the mid of a like Ebola outbreak. I mean, it's cool in the video game, but I don't know if I'd actually want to do that.
But that's kind of also the thing, right? Like, because I guess if you're going to include like video games, board games, I'd probably want to be in like the D&D universe or something. But like again with magic, and I'd like to think like, oh, I'm going to be the hero that like goes on adventures. No, I'm probably going to be the commoner that gets killed.
You're
by
like
a
the
dragon.
Yeah.
Well, what's the universe you don't want to live in? Because for me, it's definitely like the Matrix or like Fortnite, because you got the Predator, Terminator, Alien, like all
Oh,
of those
yeah.
things on one island. Like, no, I don't want
Nope.
that. Even with Captain
Joss
America's shield, I can't really do anything with that.
Joss Whedon's Justice League.
Good one.
I guess I would have said, for one I don't want to live in, I guess I would have said Starship Troopers, because while the technology is cool, it's kind of a like, you have to join the military to become a citizen in that universe.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Scary.
but the only thing that grants you is to be able to do government service. If you don't want to be involved in government, you don't have to go into the military. And if you want to do literally almost anything else, you just got to fill out one extra form of paperwork, and that's it. And you're still granted all this, but as a civilian, you don't have to put your life on the line, and you still enjoy all of the benefits that everybody else does. Like, that is literally the only difference.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's coming from the book.
See, I've never read the book, so.
Devin, how about you? One that you wouldn't want to live in?
I feel like I wouldn't like to live and Chad said it as a joke. I wouldn't want to live in the DCEU, like, at all. Just like I don't want like the fact that like there are like real gods just messing with people's lives for the hell of it. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that, like, that we can make a doomsday just because Jesse Eisenberg had an idea. Like, I don't want that.
Just enjoying yourself in the apartment and Superman just comes bursting through the wall.
If
And
you-
like and
if
I'm
you
just
were
like
one
the
who
cutaway
killed
character.
Superman, you would have been the one who killed Superman. Like,
Right.
Trying to think.
I don't know if I want to live in the Star Wars universe.
No?
No, like, it sounds all cool and stuff with the Jedi and all that, but then you watch like the Mandalorian and how fragile their spaceships are, and like can be held together with fishnets. Like, I don't want that in space. Like, I don't know why I just turned into the EG. Like, no, I don't want that. No.
Yeah, if you're in the Star Wars universe, you definitely want to be like in the inner planets, like not on the outer rim.
Yeah.
'Cause that's where you get all the hot, Jabba the Hutt and.
But
you get
the
Jank.
good news is, if you want a good story, you can just name yourself Skywalker. So
You just do
There-
it.
there you go. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Completion of an
I
arc.
kid because I kid because it's funny.
The only thing that I have in my head right now is any older Disney cartoon, because if I had to wake up every morning to singing animals, I'd go nuts. But I
Yeah.
mean, besides a joke,
No, I don't think that's a
To be-
joke. I think that's a good answer. Like, I wouldn't want
real.
to live in Song of the South either.
yeah,
Ooh.
the Alien Blade Runner universe would not want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Oh, can
Yeah,
agree.
oh yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just because of the hyper economic situation that they have going on. I would not want to deal with that at all.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm glad you looped them in together as one universe, though. So.
Oh, they are the
I
same
know,
universe.
I know.
Like, I'm definitely set in that.
Oh,
so.
I'm aware. All right. I think that about does it for our review of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
I believe next week on the rotation, it is Ryan's turn to have us watch something. So, Ryan, what are you going to have us watch for next Tuesday?
Two monsters are going to go at each other, guys. And we need to prep for this, because I know Alan has not seen Godzilla the King of Monsters. And before this new one comes out, he needs to see it. So we're going to do Godzilla King of Monsters, and we're going to prep for the new Godzilla movie.
Which we will also be doing a review of, because I just said so. Okay, yeah, so that'll
At the
be
same time?
well, when it comes out.
At some point. It's
Yeah.
31st, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it comes out Friday.
Mm.
It comes out next Friday. So,
Okay.
all right. Well, I think that does it for tonight. So next week, tune in for Godzilla King of the Monsters right here Tuesday at 8:00. But Monday night, tune in for our watch along of our superhero movie March Madness winner, Thor Ragnarok. We will be live streaming that with you guys, giving our own commentary, talking about it, answering questions, chatting with you guys. If chat was anything like it was tonight, it's going to be a blast. Hope to see you there. Chad, thank you very much for joining us for our 200th episode.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Now, Chad, there have been 200 episodes of You Have to Watch This podcast. Which one is your favorite? I know you've listened to them all multiple times.
I think it's going to be this one. I just really like the conversation we had, and it just flowed very well, and I like the topic, and Ryan was beautiful. It just really worked out.
And that guest star we had on.
Oh, and that guest star was just amazing.
Okay, so what's your favorite one that you weren't on?
I think probably the one where you guys talked about the Muppets.
Okay.
Oh, yay.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Because I'm a huge Muppets fan, and I was very active in the chat that night because I was very upset that Devin had never seen the Muppets because I think Devin is just Muppet material.
Yeah,
he is.
I am though. If I shave this beard, it's 100% Muppet.
So I guess
True.
same question for you two. What has been your favorite episode up to this point of the first 200?
My favorite episode, hands down, is the RoboCop episode. That was the one movie, me going in, that I was like, I had my scathing notes. I was like, I hate this movie. Here we go. I'm just gonna tear it apart. And you guys genuinely convinced me otherwise, and it is very high on my list of rewatch because of it.
Okay.
You haven't re-seen it yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Ryan, how about you?
Well, I was trying to bring up our list on Podbean for me to re-look at them real quick, but because I had to factory reset my phone, all of my stuff's gone, so I gotta go off memory now. This is tough because
I can give you mine
like
a while.
'em.
I can give you mine a while. I think for me, the chef episode that we did in person was really
cool.
fun because we had food, and I like food. And it was nice being in the same room with both of you. Ryan and I would do the show together, and then when Devin joined, he was across the country in LA. But finally getting to sit down, the three of us in the room, was a audio nightmare, but it was really fun conversation. And I hope to do it again someday. I don't know how it'll work with the stream, but I'll make it work.
Okay, so I have a tie, actually, and you guys are either going to roll your eyes and go, oh, of course, this totally makes sense for you. Honestly, it's in between Moneyball and Bull Durham.
Okay.
Mainly because
Bull Durham was a good one.
I like that one.
And the reason why is because, as much as I like movies, I like baseball, just as much. And I like finding people that either like it as much as I do, or I can get them interested in it. And I feel like those two movies came really close to both of you guys kind of getting it to a point. And I loved the baseball discussions that we had in those two.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed those.
So, the good news is, Chad, you can go back and watch our Bull Durham episode on our YouTube channel, and you can listen. And you can listen to the Moneyball episode wherever you listen to your podcasts.
There you go.
So
I didn't know.
So one more question for Devin and Ryan: is there one film that you were made to watch on the show that you have gone back and revisited because you enjoyed it that much? I know for me, I just rewatched The Godfather. I don't know why.
Oh, that's cool.
But I had the craving to rewatch The Godfather when I got Paramount Plus and saw it was on there. Put it on the big screen at work. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna work and watch The Godfather. Is there any movie that you guys have rewatched that you were made to watch on the show?
That's a really great question. I don't think so. I don't do a lot of movie rewatches. I always have these grand ideas. I always want to do movie rewatches, and then I just don't, which is more of a character flaw.
If you had to rewatch a movie that you were made to watch right now,
yes,
what would it be?
If I had to stop the stream and go watch a movie, RoboCop.
Okay,
hands down RoboCop. No, actually, RoboCop or Starship Troopers. One of those two.
Okay, Ryan.
I'm kind of in Devin's boat. I'm looking through the stuff that I didn't have you guys watch, and even stuff I really, really liked, I haven't gone back and watched it. yet. But if I had to pick, like, to go now, UHF and Clerks 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
What good choices.
I got a Kevin Smith story to tell you guys after the show.
I'm excited.
But yeah, those are both good ones. I can't believe you never saw UHF. Like, that still baffles me that I had to bring that to you.
I think I talked about it on the cast. It was one of those things where it's like I knew existed because of VH1 pop-up video when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And they talked about it playing during one of his, like, videos. And I was like, okay, but it was never available anywhere.
Yeah.
So I found out what the cover was. It was one of those things where, like, it was burnt into my memory. If I ever see this anywhere, I'm going to get it or rent it and then I'll watch it. But it was never available at 48 Hour Video. It was never available at Blockbuster. It was never on HBO or Showtime when I wasn't in school.
Yeah.
And then when it came to, like, getting it on, like, DVD, it was never at Walmart where I worked for the longest time. So it was one of those things where it's like I was actively looking for it. I just never came across it until you were like, "Here, I have it." I'm like, "Oh, finally, I get to see this movie." It's like,
All right. So I think that does it for our 200th episode. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, not only tonight, but for any of our 200 episodes. We don't do this for money. We do this for the hell of it. It's a lot of fun. We've done 200 episodes so far. We're going to do 200 more, I hope, if we can come up with that many movies.
we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The list always seems to grow because they keep making movies. So maybe not last year.
Yeah, right.
They're getting back into it. Chad, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We'd love to have you back sometime. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Thank you to everyone in the chat. If you're watching us on Twitch, make sure to hit that follow button. We go live every Tuesday with shows like this. And then we have bonus content throughout the week. Some gaming stuff, some other pop culture review stuff that we do. Once there's a big trailer or something, we'll probably do some reactions to that live. For right now, there really hasn't been much. But yeah, make sure you hit follow. You can like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram for show updates and programming notes. You can also listen to our show on all major podcasting platforms. You can watch older episodes of the show on our YouTube page at You Have to Watch This Podcast. And until next time, for You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Devin.
I'm Chad.
Yeah. And they've never had to deal with us united. See you next time.